hasn't always been this way. I remember brighter days before the dark ones came, stole my mind, wrapped my soul in chains. Now I live among the dead, fighting voices in my head, hoping someone hears me crying in the night and carries me away, set me free of the chains holding me. Is anybody out there hearing me? Set me free.
Thanks, Paige. Cool. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Good. Okay. All right. So we gave a disclaimer, as you guys know, the last time we did this series. This is an R-rated sermon. I'm sorry. It really is. This is some pretty tough subject matter. Definitely not for small kids, but this is really affecting kids as early as 9. That's the earliest viewing of pornography now, is 9. When I was 9, I was playing sports and watching creature feature and cartoons, and it's really amazing how deeply we fall into that cavern, right? So again, tough for little kids, but this is really good for teenagers. And if you guys know any schools that you'd like this to be taught at, I think it'd be really good for the schools to hear this. As tough as it is, I think it's the number one problem in the church right now. And I will show you why, if you haven't really dove into the statistical stuff that's going on here. It's the Zoom, right? Yeah. Yes. So welcome everybody tonight. Welcome everybody online. Thank you for joining us. Tonight's message is the first of 3 parts entitled Porn 101, Set Me Free. Okay. And tonight's chapter is Lust versus Love. I'm going to get into some few statistical things. I don't want to spend a lot of time on statistics because there's a reason why it's very difficult to find statistics on this topic. Number one is the people that are supplying this garbage, they don't want you to know what's really going on. So they suppress as much statistical evidence as possible. So a lot of stuff is like from 2006, 2008, and it's really doubled since then, tripled in some areas. So again, I will go over some statistical stuff, especially about the people that are making these films. We'll go over that. That's a little bit easier to find because there are a lot of these porn stars that are coming out of the industry and really spilling the beans on this stuff. So again, definitely a tough topic for tonight. And just to go a little bit on what Paige said, you may not suffer from this, but I guarantee you there's somebody sitting next to you, somebody in your family, or somebody that you know that has a problem with this. And I'm going to go over some statistics tonight, and I think that they're really a dumbed down version of what's really going on. So this is probably, and just from being in this and counseling so many people, I would say this is the number one problem we have in our churches right now. And I'm going to tell you why, and why Satan is so prevalent on the attack on this right here. It is a marriage destroyer. It's a relationship destroyer, and it's a covenant destroyer. And I'll show you guys why. So I'm going to go over just a few statistics here. All right. Now, again, see what I'm saying? 2006, right? Here we are 15 years later. $12 billion a year industry. Now, if you don't really know what $12 billion is, and it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around it, So we're going to paint you a few examples of what this is. Now, in 2018, almost 100 billion, right? Okay, now it's over 100 billion. Some of the stuff that I've been reading, some of the latest stuff is 110 to 120 billion dollars. And again, that doesn't really seem like, how do you wrap your mind over that money? Especially if you're middle class and you only make a certain amount of money. That's a kind of a hard number to wrap your mind around. Projected 100 billion. We've already gone by that. Anybody know what VRP is? Okay, fastest growing type of pornography is VRP, virtual reality porn. Okay, you put the goggles on and you actually immerse yourself into the adultery. We're going to call it for what it is. All right. 90% of teens and 96% of young adults have watched pornography. Okay, that's not too startling considering we have Pandora's box right here. Yeah. Okay, this is Pandora's box. Great piece of equipment, probably one of the greatest things ever invented, but also one of the worst gateways we've ever seen in the history of mankind. You can get anything that you want on this right here, and it's for all the kids' album. It's like a gateway to hell. All right. Okay, only 55% of teens think that it's wrong, and that's actually climbing. It's more in like the late high 60s now. So there's a big desensitization going on with the youth because this is what they've grown up on, guys. When you start watching stuff at 9 years old, it's really not too hard to believe that when they're 12, 13, 14 years old, right? Distorted viewpoints about sex. Pornography on the internet surpasses the combination of all Netflix, Amazon, and Twitter combined. That's amazing, isn't it? I mean, think about, I don't know how many of you guys shop on Amazon. God bless you. Yeah, I mean, it's astounding. The traffic on that, it's just incredible. Okay, and it's getting worse. The porn industry generates more money every year than the combined revenues of all sports, all movies, and all music. What? Right? Okay, so one of the highest grossing films of all time, and I don't know if you guys are aware that it is, but it made over $3 billion, came out a few years ago. It was the last Avengers movie called Endgame. They made over $3 billion. That was just on ticket sales, and never mind the merchandise, but that's just one movie. Think about the concerts, think about the music. How many people have downloaded music off of iTunes in the last couple of weeks? I downloaded a couple songs, right? Think about that. That's a lot. Movies, sporting events, how much money these stars are making. Doesn't even come close. Doesn't come close. Okay, starting to understand the number, $110 billion. 35% of all internet downloads, porn related. I've heard this before, I'm sure you have. If they took pornography websites down across the globe, the internet would shut down. That's how powerful that download system is. Very interesting. The number one search for porn is teen. And you're wondering why we have all this pedophilia going on in our country right now, especially in the cabal, and people are conditioned to be pedophiles in our country now. Okay, and it's around the world, really. It's a worldwide issue, but that's the number one search term in porn is teen. Okay. One of the fastest online growing businesses is, anybody have any idea? What is it? Pornography. Give me a little bit more specific.
Amateur porn.
Okay, amateur porn. All right. Child porn. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Okay, that is a fastest growing online business. So it is. So if that is the fastest growing online business, got to be a lot of customers, guys, right? Okay. So again, this is more of a problem than anyone could ever dream of. When you really start going down into that rabbit hole, you will see that this stuff is, and this stuff's in the church, guys. This isn't just out there. This is in the church. Okay, and we'll show you that. Okay, and VRP is another fast growing business in this industry. Virtual reality porn, the more technology that comes about, the more this stuff comes out. Okay. All right, we're going to cover a little bit about the porn industry. Again, I don't want to go into too much about the adult entertainment industry, but it's really important for you guys to know this. Now, the porn industry is built on lies, as you guys probably know. Everything about it is a lie. They make it look like that type of lifestyle is very glamorous and fun and carefree and have sex with whoever you want to have sex with. It has the highest mortality rate of any industry in the entire world. That is a true statement. If you get on YouTube and plug in Porn Star Memorial, you won't believe how many will come up. And they're all dead. Gunshot wound to the head, gunshot wound to the head, gunshot wound to the head, overdose, drug overdose, cancer. I can go on and on and on. All right. So AIDS, all sorts of STDs. So if this is so glamorous and it's so awesome, these people should live a really long time, right? And they're not. All right. I'm going to go over a few statistics about the porn industry and the lie that these women actually enjoy it. And the guys too. The guys are killing themselves at the same rate as the women's. So the mortality rates are just through the roof. Okay. I mean, think about all the dangerous jobs we have in the world, and this one surpasses them all. They have a very small number of workers in the industry and the highest mortality rate. Okay. What an illustrious career in this industry, right? 6 to 18 months. That's it. Okay. It will completely destroy every aspect of who you are and what you stand for in 6 to 18 months. And these are the porn stars that have come out of it, and some that have been born again. I used to talk to a girl named Shelley Lubin. She came out of the industry. She's passed on by now, but she spilled the beans. And there's a lot of girls coming out of this that have really told a lot about what's going on. So again, short career. Amazing enough, 66 to 90% of all of these, I'm sure it's even closer to 100% of the stars, including the guys, have been sexually abused. Okay. This isn't something that you wake up to and go, wow, I want to be a porn star. I mean, it just doesn't happen, right? There's a lot of abuse and a lot of scarring, a lot of ghosts there, you know? So if this is such an amazing industry, the adult entertainment industry, then why is it that almost 9 out of 10 of them want to get out of it almost immediately? All right. If this is so great and the money's so good and the lifestyle and it's so glamorous, should be like less than 1%, right? But it's almost all of them. Okay. There's tons of physical scarring. A lot of these girls can't have children after I don't want to get into a lot of the stuff, but the physicality, it destroys a lot of parts of their bodies. I want to get into the detail. Okay. It's mentally, a lot of these girls never come back. That's why the suicide rate is skyrocketed in this industry. Okay. Mentally just destructive. And above all, it's very spiritually destructive. Okay. This industry is meant to destroy the soul.
Yes,
Whether you,
demons.
it is, it's
Yes.
demons.
Yes.
Whether you are making the films or watching the films, the goal the enemy has for this industry in your life is to destroy you spiritually. Mark my words on that. It's a true statement. All right. These are God's children. So, if you're having a problem with this, one of the things I tell guys that I counsel is every time that you watch this or you're tempted to watch it, I want you to understand that you're looking at God's daughters and God's sons every time you watch it. And think about the mortality rates. They're killing themselves. Think about the destructiveness in this industry. And every time that you watch it, you are one step closer to helping them pull the trigger. Okay. You're supporting all this organized crime that's attached to this. Most of the child abduction in the world is all tied into pornography. All right. They use this money for the trafficking of our children. Okay. All right. So this is where we really start getting into it. Okay. So a lot of people don't think that this is a problem in the church. It is, like Paige said, it's an epidemic. All right. It's an epidemic. And if we want to pull out some of the words from our current administration, it's a pandemic. All right. But it's a real one.
Is it mostly in the Catholic Church?
No, the highest is in the evangelical churches. Yes. Okay. So it knows no boundaries. Okay. Doesn't know any religious affiliation. It's an equal opportunity destroyer. All right. These statistics that I'm putting up here are really dumbed down. I would say add 10 to 20% onto almost all of them. All right. 64% of Christian men, according to the, what was that founders program that the guys go to Washington for? It's called, it's a big men's group. I can't remember the name of it, but they did some statistical stuff through Focus on the Family. 64% of Christian men have a problem with it. And 15% of Christian women have a problem with it. Like Paige said, Christian women are the fastest growing addictive group in the world to pornography. Christian women. Think about that for a minute, guys. Why is that? Okay. Following suit of their husbands, right? Okay. 43% of people in the church that are watching this all have past issues with it. So it's rampant in the church. Okay. Again, I know this is not true. 1 in 5 youth pastors are addicted to pornography. All right. I'm going to say more like half or more, 60%. All right. You read about it almost every day. There's a new guy in the news that's doing something crazy, right? Youth pastor convicted of this, youth pastor convicted of that. Okay. Rampant. Again, I think this is not what senior pastor is going to admit to this, right? And we'll get into that. This whole industry it's isolation, secrecy, and you don't want anyone to know about it, right? It's the elephant in the closet you don't want anyone to know about. I would say it's more like half, okay? If you're wondering why the churches are shutting down, there's a lot of reasons, but this is one of the biggest ones. Adultery is rampant in our pulpits nowadays with pastors. Okay. This is the fuel for it. Okay. Pornography is the fuel for adultery. They say there's over 50,000 church leaders that have a problem with this. I think it's a lot more. Okay. 7% of churches, what? Anybody know the answer to this? What do? Deny it? No. Talk about it. Okay. So if this is the biggest problem in the church, why are only 7% of the churches talking about it or have a program related to it? All right. It's probably because the pastor has a problem with it and he doesn't want to bring it to the light, right? I had a church that I used to go to down in South Florida. I developed a program similar to this for the whole church and for the husbands and the wives. And it took me almost a year to do this whole thing. And I presented it to over 20 of the pastors in the church. And I only got one phone call out of it. And within 2 months, the head pastor came out. He left the pulpit, left the church. He was addicted to pornography and all sorts of stuff going on in the church. So this happens, guys. It's happening all over the place. Okay. So that's why we are not going to be, that is not us at Pneuma. We want to make sure that we bring this. And again, we want to have this every 3 to 6 months. Super important.
But
Okay.
they're not dealing with the demons behind it. So
Yes.
it trickles down.
And we're going to talk about
Yeah.
how to beat it. Yeah. How to beat it.
Yeah.
Okay, number one problem in our churches today. Okay, our churches are kind of asleep over here. That's a good picture of this guy just kind of snoozing and wondering who's playing for the football game in the afternoon. All right, 4 lies of pornography, right? It's a lie. You guys need to understand this. This is a lie. The whole industry is a lie. It's harmless entertainment. All right. This is one of the most destructive things that you can put into your head. Okay, that's what it is. It's the eye right into the mind. Take every thought captive. It is not harmless entertainment. It is a lie. Okay. Pornography improves your sex life, husbands and wives. Did you guys ever know that? No, it does not improve your sex life. It will destroy your sexual chemistry in marriage. It will destroy intimacy and it will eventually destroy your marriage. All right. So you cannot keep doing this and expect to have a good marriage. That is a lie. It does not improve your sexuality. It destroys it. It improves relationships. No, it doesn't. We know that it destroys relationships. It destroys your relationship with your children. Okay. Because there's a lot of shame involved with that. It destroys marital relationships. It destroys friendship relationships, work relationships. Okay. Again, another lie. Women love porn. That's what the industry wants you to think. These women love it. They have a great time. We already went over what happens to these women, right? Totally destructive. Most of them commit suicide. Okay. Do women love porn? No, not at all. Not at all. Okay. Another lie from the industry. So how does this industry build its model? And again, it's a business model. Okay. And their business model is created through really death. Lies and death, because that's what it does. It destroys and causes death spiritually for people. Isolation. All right. Most of the guys and even girls that come in and see us, this type of sin, which is based in lust, they want you to be alone. Okay, remember we talk about that at Numa all the time, how the lion, and was it for First Peter? He's prowling through the grass looking. He's not going to go after a whole herd of zebra. He's singling out the sick one. He's going to go after it and get it alone. He wants you to be alone. This is fueled by isolation because there's a lot of shame with it. All right. Secrecy. Nobody wants to admit it, right? I mean, if the pastor in a megachurch said, how many people struggle with porn? You might have a couple of people going like this, but most people, nobody has a problem with it, right? Nobody has a problem with this, but everyone has a problem with it. They really do. This is something that we need to take captive, right? Okay, builds on secrecy, builds on lies. We already went over that. Okay, the whole thing is a lie. There's no truth in it whatsoever. And it's an addiction. They say that porn and sex addiction is more addictive than heroin. Okay, so you ever heard about how hard it is to quit smoking or quit heroin? And those people, they just go years. They can't beat it. It's much more addictive than that. Okay, and it's easier to conceal, right? And one of the biggest ones is it's embarrassing. Nobody wants to talk about it because Satan wants you guys to think that you're the only person on the planet that struggles with this. If we would all have an open dialogue right now and just open up our closets and throw all our dirt out, you'd be amazed how many people have a problem with this. All right. It's usually most people. All right. So
It's close to,
it's very close to home in almost every family. I mean, I don't really know any family that doesn't have a problem with it. Very, very difficult stuff here. All right. This is a question that I get a lot from my counselees, something that I struggled with over the years in my 20s and 30s. And I always wanted to beat this. And I know there's people in the crowd, people online right now, you want to beat this. There's not a Christian ever that didn't want to beat this. They want to beat this. They want to overcome it because they want to excel to see where God's going to take them in the kingdom, right? You can't if this is in your life. So why is it that you just keep struggling with this issue over and over again? I know a lot of guys, they beat it, they do all their basic stuff and they go a couple of weeks and then they struggle again. Okay. Or a couple of guys that go a couple of months and then they fall again. All right. Or guys that go a couple of years and then they fall again. Why is that? Why is it that you continue to fall in something that you really hate? It's like a love-hate relationship. And there's a spiritual aspect to this, which we will touch on next week. But I want to help you understand why it's so hard. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on this, right? So most people that struggle with porn or lust, and again, it's guys and girls, there's a lot of deep-rooted issues that people haven't dealt with, okay? And think about a root, okay? Like trying to pull that tree out, you can't, right? If you have some rotten apples, you can kind of pick them away, throw them away so no one sees them. But to really get to the root of the issue takes a lot of work, right? So these are the Band-Aids. And again, I am not saying that these are not helpful. They are, and it's part of the process and healing from this. But if you don't get delivered from this and understand the root issues, these are Band-Aids, all right? A lot of guys come in, dude, I'm reading my Bible like twice a day and I read it all the time. And I still want to look at this stuff. I still struggle, all right? I'm going to tell you straight up, if you read the Bible 24/7 all day long and you're not dealing with the root issues of this, you're not going to beat it. All right. And I can give you hundreds of examples. Pray more. More guys, girls come in, I'm praying about this every day. I want the Lord to take this from me. And, I'm reading the Bible more, I'm praying every day. And, no, again, just kind of like a Band-Aid, temporarily it'll help you. Like this stuff's all really good to the final remedy of this, but this stuff alone, not going to fix it. Okay. Because you still haven't dealt with the root issues. Okay. Again, going to church more. I know a lot of guys, they go to those, I don't know if anyone's ever been to one. And again, you don't have to be a porn addict to go to one, but it's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous. They have Al-Anon for the teens and stuff. So you can go to these conferences and guys go to, or girls, they go to these conferences expecting this to help them. And it just fuels it more. All right. Because a lot of the conferences do not understand the root issue with this or the spirituality behind it. That's
Set programs.
12-step programs, okay? It's just not going to work. And I know several of these programs that don't work because, again, you're only dealing with the fruit, the bad fruit. You're not really getting down deep into the roots, okay? And there's a lot of stuff down there we can talk about. So that's why we want you guys to understand. We want to give you guys the equipment to beat this or help somebody beat it. Ever heard of Covenant Eyes? Anybody ever heard of Covenant Eyes? Okay. So this is just one of the bigger programs. It's something that you put on your computer and it kind of like blocks all your bad websites and stuff and sends them, like, let's just say that I'm having a porn problem and Paige is helping me and we get Covenant Eyes. What it does is it sends all of the website information to her. So she's kind of like my accountability partner. Okay. That's really good. Again, it's kind of like a Band-Aid. And the reason is if you understand porn addiction, like I do as a counselor, most people that have this addiction will use Covenant Eyes to make others think that you've beaten what you have a problem with. You guys get that? Okay. It's like a mess. It's like, dude, I have Covenant Eyes. I beat this, because again, it's shame. They don't want to admit they have a problem. I know guys that would lie to Jesus if he was standing in front of them about their porn issue. That's the way it is. All right. They do not want people to know that they have a problem with it. That's why it's so hard to fix, is because most guys don't want to talk about it. And most girls don't want to talk about it. All right. If you have a problem with it, get with someone that's going to help you, because as soon as you beat this and get to the root issues, you're going to soar as a Christian. You will. Okay. The enemy's goal is to keep you here your whole life. A little bit here. Okay. God wants you here. The enemy wants you here. Okay. Porn will always keep you here. This is God's goal for you. It's your position in the kingdom is here. It's not here. This stuff will keep you here forever. I know guys 30, 40 years and they just can't beat it. We're going to give you the tools to beat it. Okay. So again, Covenant Eyes, not a bad thing, but the problem is you're not really destroying the main aspect of what's causing this issue. Okay. All right. So let's go back to, and again, we covered some of the stuff on Sunday. If you guys were here for our sermon on Sunday, understand what was going on before the flood. Okay. And again, it's something we kind of glanced over. We talked about the Nephilim on Sunday. It said every inclination of their hearts was evil continually all the time. That's pretty hard to imagine, isn't it? I want you just for a second, imagine we have a time travel machine here. I want you guys to jump in. We're going to go back to the days of Noah. Okay. Noah's building his ark. Took him 120 years. And we're going to go back to those days where every inclination of every thought was evil all the time. That's hard to imagine, isn't it? Can you imagine how depraved that society was? There's no law. You could kill anyone you want to kill. You could take someone's wife. They're having sex with whoever they want to have sex with. It was totally immoral. All right. So that was the culture back then. God said, Genesis 6:7, I'm going to wipe them all out, right? I'm going to wipe them out. But that spirit, that culture stayed in one of his sons, Ham. All right. So we went over this on Sunday. If you look at what happened with Ham, he brought the ugliness of that culture out of the ark into the new world, right? He gave birth to Sodom and Gomorrah, the Amorites. We went over Egypt, all of the real horrible tribes that are in the Old Testament. That's the result of Ham and bringing a seed of that culture with him. So he was just really desensitized, right? Another thing that he did was he was cursed by his father for something that he did to his father in the tent. So there was some weirdness going on there. We always want to keep this as a nice story with a bunch of animals running around, but there's some ugliness to it. You need to understand this is one of the root causes of pornography, is this type of garbage that people keep in their hearts. All right, I'm going to show you a little bit more how this progresses. All right, good story. Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot, his two daughters and his wife, right? The angels go in. So I want you guys to think about it again. So think about before Noah, depraved culture, every inclination, evil all the time. Sodom and Gomorrah was no different. This was like filth beyond filth, this place. Now think about Lot. Lot was supposed to be a God-fearing man, right? Now, I want you to think, I'm just going to pick a town around here out of random. It doesn't mean that I'm destroying the town that you live in. Let's pick Concord for a minute, right? Let's say Concord is like Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's say it's like before right before Noah. Everyone that lives there, continuous evil all the time. There's rape, there's rampage, there's murdering. It's just craziness going on over there. As a Christ follower, would you guys want to move there? No. You'd be like, there's no way I'm moving there, right? Why was Lot in Sodom and Gomorrah? Have you ever asked yourself that question? What was a godly man doing in a place like that? If you guys don't want to move to the place we just talked about, why would Lot not only want to live there, but why did he hesitate in 1916 when he was told that to leave the city? You notice that? The angels are going to destroy the city, and he hesitates. Why did he hesitate? Why do you think he hesitated? Because he's desensitized, right?
He liked what he saw.
He liked what he saw. There was a seed of corruption inside of him that he liked about that place. Same thing with Ham. All right. The desensitization that has to occur in this situation is mind-boggling. And I want to equate it to today. I think that Lot was so deconditioned to the evil around him that he just got desensitized to what was going on around. He didn't realize how ugly these sins were there was a stench to God's nostrils that he hesitated. And what did his wife do? Why'd she turn back? What would you want to turn back to that? Desensitized, right? That seed of evil was inside of her. So let's fast forward it a little bit. Okay, so here they are. So she turns back. And again, think about the depravity in these cultures, yet they're turning, like there's something that, I got to turn back. There's something that I like about that place, right?
Is that when she was turned to stone or salt?
She turned to salt, okay? So again, so why did Lot hesitate? Because he was desensitized. He had that seed of evil inside of him, right? Same thing with his wife. There was something that she liked. It's almost like she liked evil, right? I mean, I guess that's what you could say. Why were they living there in the first place? Okay, there's no reason they should have been living there at all. All right, now I want you guys to think about another culture here too. All right, so let's fast forward a little bit. Egypt. Okay, we get the Israelites living in Egypt. All right, and we'll talk about the 10 plagues. So the Israelites saw God work amazingly in the situation. They saw all of these plagues, especially the last one. Okay, symbolic of the cross, blood on your front door. Okay, firstborn. Then they were freed from Egypt, the pillar of fire, the parting of the Red Seas. Look at all the miracles they saw, like within the first couple weeks, right? Astounding, right? So what happened after 40 days to these guys? All right, so can you imagine seeing that? I mean, I don't know if the last time you guys saw an ocean parted, but it must be pretty cool. Right? That would give me a big faith boost, right? So within 40 days, Moses went up to the mountain, and what did they do? They built a calf, and it says they committed revelry. So some interpretations are they had an orgy, some is sexual dancing, but revelry, all right? So within 40 days of seeing all these amazing miracles and God with them in a pillar of fire, they did that. And
Egypt out of them.
yeah, you can take Israel out of Egypt, but you can't take Egypt out of Israel, right? You can take Sodom and Gomorrah out of, same thing with Lot, okay? You can take Lot and his family out of Sodom and Gomorrah, but you really can't take Sodom and Gomorrah out of Lot. You can take the depravity of pre-Noah, same thing with Ham. So this is one of the root causes of porn addiction, is that we are so desensitized to the evil culture that we live in, we don't even realize how depraved this stuff really is, okay? And one of the big things that I hear all the time is there's almost like a callousness to men and women that come in, and I know I did. There's a callousness to the sin. So I screwed up a couple times this week. I screwed up last week. I mean, you see what I'm talking about? There's a callousness about that sin. It is so depraved. It's because of the culture that we live in. We're so conditioned to this depravity in our culture that we don't really understand the seriousness of this sin before God. It is serious, guys. Yes.
I just have a question.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it Lot or Lot's daughters that slept with him?
Yes. And again, there's the depravity continuing, right? So why would Lot's daughters want to sleep with their father? I mean, just twisted, right? But that's why, because they took that seed with them, right? A lot of guys and a lot of girls that suffer with porn addiction have taken the seed of this culture with them in their journey with Christ. That's why they have a problem beating us. All right? Need to get rid of those seeds. Okay, we are totally desensitized. We live in a culture very similar to the ones that we just described. All right, we need to really destroy and burn those seeds. Okay, and understand just how holy God really is. God is like, I mean, you can't even look at him when you'll die, right? That's how holy he is. And here we are, you know, on our computers looking at all this garbage and going, yeah, forgive me, Lord. I'm sorry about that. And sorry about that. And I want you guys to think a little bit more about how foul that is. Okay. And I want you guys to start really understanding that you can't bring those seeds with you. All right. All right. So we're going to talk a little about how these seeds carry over into our marriages. Okay. So again, you don't have to be married in order to have a problem with this. There's a ton of people that are single that have a problem with it. But, you know, real big issue here with pornography in marriage. All right. So again, pornography is fuel for adultery, which is fuel for divorce. Okay. So, you know, it never happens where someone just wakes up in the morning and says, I think I'm going to commit adultery on you today. You know, there's thousands and thousands of poor decisions that get you to that point that you're going to commit that against your spouse. And it's always fueled by porn, online stuff. Even like the social media networks are really, they're really like quasi porn. They're like entrance points to cheat and to commit all these horrible things. It's like kind of like a gossip site.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
It looks like to me that it's so hard to desensitize the porn because of all the TV shows and like social media and all that. So in today's world, it must be very hard for some of these people.
It is. And that's why when I have people come in, I tell them the first thing, especially for the guys, is get rid of your social media accounts. Like immediately get rid of your social media because there's triggers involved with it. Okay. You know, they have all these things they show on Instagram. If that's a trigger, get rid of it.
Know your triggers.
Yep. Know your triggers and cut it off. That's the first thing I tell the guys, get rid of Facebook, get rid of Instagram. And a lot of guys, no, I kind of like this. And they don't, they have the seed. That seed's still in them. Burn it, get rid of it. Don't turn back. All right. Okay. Number two, and again, most affairs through porn addiction. Oh, well over half. I think it's more now. Okay. Porn fuels adultery. It does. Diminishes trust. Porn diminishes trust in relationships. Like a lot of couples come in and they watch it together. Guys, this is going to destroy your relationship. Okay. It doesn't build trust. It diminishes. It destroys trust in the marital relationship. It causes sexual dysfunction. I have a lot of guys that are so used to watching this, and these are career porn guys, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. They can't be with their wives anymore. All right. And we're going to talk about the ceiling of lust compared to love. And that's really important. Okay. Objectifies the wife. And again, women are getting not close, but they're close second. It can objectify the husband too. All right. So it goes both ways, but you know, mostly it's just like, it just treats your wife like a piece of meat, right? She just has no value. She's not a child of God. Okay. If you are looking at this, if you know someone that's looking at this, if you're thinking about looking at this, it's adultery. I don't care how you slice it, whatever excuse you throw in front of it. Matthew 5:28, Jesus said, if you even look at a woman with lust in your eye, you committed adultery in your heart, right? Okay. This is just a new form of adultery. It's quick and convenient. All right. You don't get caught driving somewhere or at a hotel room. You can just get on your computer. You can get on this. Okay. Isolation and secrecy, right? Just don't let anyone know about it. Put on that private browser, guys. All right. It's adultery. Takes away intimacy. All right. If you want to destroy intimacy in your marriage, and intimacy isn't just sexual, there's like there's like a friendship intimacy, and intimacy in marriage is great. Okay. It's like, God created, he didn't create marriage to be like, yeah, it's all right. Our society has redefined marriage. So something like, you don't want to get married. They call it what? The engagement ring, the wedding ring, and then the sufferer ring, right? The 3 rings of marriage. It's not true. God designed marriage perfect. If you do it his way, it works. If you don't, and you want to do it this way, you'll destroy marriage and destroy intimacy. Hebrews 13:4. All right. Again, it isolates in 1 Peter 5:8. Okay, that's what the enemy wants you to do. He wants to, remember that the injured animal and the lion's going after, that's what he wants to do to you guys. Okay, that's what he did to me. And again, really the porn industry, it's like a porn culture, they call it now, right? It really teaches us that having sex before marriage is fine. It's not a big deal, right? It's just entertainment, really, it's all it is. John 8:44 tells us differently.
Take them to Planned Parenthood, get them ready.
Just get them ready, man. Yeah, just get an abortion. Who cares? All right. So this is kind of like the highlight of the talk tonight, is how to tell if it's love or just lust. And this is one of the root issues. This is something that I have not talked about before, but it's something that the Lord really spoke to me about. This is one of the roots to this, and we're going to talk about it. If you're having a problem with this, I'm going to tell you how to beat it. All right. I want you guys to think of 2 sides of the coin here. We have one fueled by porn and lust. It's a stairway that never ends. Now, lust is something that can never be satisfied. All right. You will climb up one, then you'll have to climb up the next one, and it goes on forever. That's why porn addiction goes on forever, unless it's fixed, because you can never satisfy it. All right. You can climb that thing for 40, 50 years and you'll never get to the top. All right. And again, pornography, it releases these endorphins when you watch it, and it doesn't release the same amount the next time you watch it. So you got to watch something worse. Okay. It's like a hierarchy. So you start with this type, then you go to the next horrible type, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse to the point where you're looking at child porn, guys. That's what happens. You read Ted Bundy's interview. Have you ever heard it before? Mass murderer. You can get his stuff on YouTube. Just listen to his interview with Dr. James Dobson. He will talk about his stairway, and not to heaven, stairway to hell. All right, stairway to hell. It started off with a couple magazines in his dad's drawers, a couple Playboys. Then it went to Penthouse. Then it went to blah, blah, blah. And it just kept getting worse until he started killing people. Got saved at the end. God redeemed him. All right. I think he truly redeemed him. It talks about that hierarchy of the lust. So you just keep getting more and more depraved. Insatiable appetites. That's why the enemy allows, there's more and more windows and doors for the enemy to come in and just destroy your life, right? So, he started then he got into sexual violence with the girls he was with. Then there was rape, and then there was physical violence, and then he killed someone. And then he killed more girls, killed a whole bunch. Yep.
Bloodlust is.
All right. So that's one side of the coin. We have the lust. So if you're in porn or you're having a problem with it right now, that's why that ceiling can never satisfy. A lot of guys that kind of beat porn, they kind of beat it. All right. They've been delivered a little bit and reading the Bibles, and they're trying to do the right thing. They really want to beat it. They want to have good marriages. The problem with this, and again, this is a root issue. I want you to pay close attention to this. Guys take this insatiable appetite for sex, and now it's fixed, and they're going to carry it over to this. All right? Masturbation always goes hand in hand with porn. All right? Always. Okay? It is really a ritualistic thing with a lot of demonic activity. If you guys don't know that, again, do your research. It's a satanic ritual. It really is. Okay? It's just all about self. Okay? It's not about releasing or, it makes me feel bad, whatever. This is the enemy's tool for fueling porn. Nobody watches porn and doesn't do this. All right? They don't watch and go like, man, that was an amazing movie, right? The average time on a adult website is 10 minutes. Okay, it's on an hour and a half. It's 10 minutes. And it's because of this. Okay, this fuels it. If you're having a problem with this, I tell guys to go on a fast from this for a week, fast for 2 weeks, you're starving the enemy by doing this. Okay, this is a root issue, guys. Starve the enemy. It'll help. Okay, masturbation fuels lust. Again, it's a demonic ritual. Okay, it's done in it's Satanism, one of the main things they do. Okay, this is the thing I really wanted to touch on tonight is masturbation and porn addiction or porn viewing increase abnormal sexual desire in a man or a female, right? So God created our sexual interests here for our mates, okay? Porn does this, all right? Here, and it's here now. So guys that fix this, take this into their marital relationships now, right? And that's another huge issue. Again, masturbation is really adultery, okay? Because you're fantasizing and committing adultery, thinking you're playing the movie in your head, right? Destroys the sexual marriage for the sexual model for marriage, okay? God's way of doing this is really cool. I'm going to show you a really good picture coming up. Can never be satisfied. That's why it's an addiction. Can't be satisfied, right? God's design for marriage can always be satisfied because he designed it perfect, right? All right. Oh, I love Planned Parenthood. They're like gospel to me, you know? All right. Planned Parenthood, masturbation can help you guys. If you don't know this, make sure you take some notes. Oh, it reduces stress. Thank you, Planned Parenthood. Boost your self-esteem. All right. Again, these are all lies. Improves your overall sex life. No, these are just lies. And
They preach this?
Planned Parenthood needs this model. Why do they love porn? They love adultery. Why do they love all this stuff? What's it create for them?
Raw materials.
Unwanted children and abortion, right? That's right. And adrenochrome. Okay. But they have an insatiable appetite to kill our children. And that's what all this stuff does. Unwanted pregnancies. Okay. All lies. They're liars. Planned Parenthood are a bunch of liars. All right. Now I have gone over this with some of my counselees, and then we'll get into God's design in a minute. So love versus lust. This is from 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient, right? It's an act of your will. So the lust version of this is impatience. Okay, I got to have it right now. That's what porn's all about, right? Like my wife won't have sex with me, so I need sex right now. So I'm going to be impatient and go do this on my own. It's all about impatience. You'll see how this really works itself out, right? Kindness. Okay, love is kind. Okay, I love a kind woman. I love my wife, Paige. She's so kind. It's one of the things I really love about her. The opposite of kindness is meanness. Who wants a mean partner, right? Love is modest. Okay, lust is arrogant, isn't it? It's very arrogant. Love is polite. Lust is rude. Who wants a rude partner? Terrible, isn't it? Like, where they say that common decency is kind of gone out the window now, holding the door open for people and everything. Love is humble. Lust is prideful. Pride, it's all about self. Lust is all about you all the time. Love is honorable. Okay. Lust is dishonorable. Okay. For people that have watched porn or have an issue with this, think about how much shame you have, you know? It's like they call it a love-hate relationship. Like, oh, Lord, please forgive me. And then you're doing really well. Then you fall again. You feel horrible, right? It's all about shame, dishonor. Love is sacrificial. Lust is selfish. Porn is all about being selfish, guys. Okay. You see what this industry really is? This is the real industry on the right. Love is calm. Lust is quick-tempered. Okay. Someone doesn't agree with you, just quick-tempered. I'm angry all the time. Okay, love is forgiving. Lust is unforgiving. Okay. And what happens when you're unforgiving is you have that bitter root inside you, right? Love is truth. Lust is deceit, as we've seen from the entertainment industry. Love always protects. Lust always harms. Love always trusts. Lust always doubts. This is an interesting point. Love through Christ, we can trust Christ with everything, right? He's the ultimate trustworthy Lord. He's the definition of trust. He is trust. Doubt. Look what lust does. It's telling you, Satan is telling you, he's whispering in your ear that God's design for sex and marriage isn't enough for you. You got to have the other stuff, guys, to be fulfilled. All right. So he just whispers little doubts in your ear. Okay. Love always hopes, lust always despairs. Okay. If you're out there and you're watching the stuff, I guarantee you there's a spirit of despair in you right now because you want to beat this so badly, but you don't know how to do it. Love never gives up. Lust discards. Just go to the next person. Throwaway society. We live in a throwaway culture, right? Don't like something, get rid of it. Okay. Don't like your job, quit. Don't like your marital partner, get a divorce. All right. This is important. Activities or acts towards others that appear selfless, but at its core are self-centered and at the root fueled by lust. It's a part of the narcissistic behavior that must be stuffed out. So I have a lot of guys that come in and like, hey man, my wife's birthday's this weekend and I got her an amazing hotel room at this place. And is that guy really interested in giving his wife a birthday present? Or is the entire thing that he's doing really selfish?
Or he buys her lingerie.
He buys her lingerie,
Right.
or he buys her this, or he gives her a back massage because he really wants to have sex with her. There's an ulterior motive to this seed. It's a seed. All right. If you truly love your wife, you'll want to do things for her regardless of what happens. All right. I'm going to rub her. Okay. I can rub her feet and I can get sex, or that's just narcissism, guys. All right. It's all about what you can get out of the relationship. And that's just not what we just read. That's lust. It's still lust. All right. A lot of guys, yeah, man, and I took her out and then she got all mad at me. And, she knows that. She knows. She's not stupid. She knows. She wants to be loved, truly loved the way that Christ loves us. Okay. Again, massaging your partner. That's, if, I'm going to massage my partner, I don't have to expect anything in return. It just to be something selfless that you do for someone. All right. But this is how we've been conditioned because of the porn culture. All right. Taking them on a nice hotel getaway. Again, we went over that one. Pretty crazy. Buying a gift. It's like buying sex. Okay. Oh, I gave you that, so I should get this in return. No. Buy her a gift without expecting anything in return. Complimenting them, right? Guys, we're masters at that, right? Oh my gosh, you look so amazing. You're so beautiful, blah, 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 blah. You're really just warming them up to get what you want. Okay. Because that thing can never be fulfilled because you took that into the relationship with your wife. It can never be fulfilled. Okay. Loving behavior without reward or acknowledgement is true agape love. Okay. That's a good one to take a picture of if you don't have it. All right. So husbands, we need to love our wives the way that Christ loves. That's a good model to follow. Ephesians 5. If you don't know it or haven't read it, memorize it. Okay. What did Christ do for the church? He died for it. Guys, we need to die for our wives. Okay. And the women need to respect their husbands. But I think the guy's job's harder. Die to self. Well, our wives are first all the time. First. Here's God, here's our wife, and then everything else underneath that. That's the hierarchy of marriage.
Is it the same thing with wives?
Same thing with wives. Okay. God first, husband second. Right? Okay. So getting back to the lust staircase, this is God's perfect design for sex and marriage. Think of it as like this box. Okay. And it's not because it can't go outside of that, but it's perfect. So you don't need to go outside of it. God perfectly designed marriage and perfectly designed the sexual union between a man and a woman in marriage perfectly. It's perfectly. All right. So what happens is guys that are trying to beat porn, or women, take that staircase of lust and they kind of beat it. So they don't look at that stuff anymore, but they take that seed and they take it and pile it on top of that box. All right. Guys, your wife will never be able to satisfy you if you're taking this and stacking it on top of that. It's unrealistic and it's never going to happen. And it causes a lot of problems. Hey, my wife won't have sex with me. Well, I mean, what's going on? For the 5th time in one day. Like, dude, calm it down a little bit. You guys need to understand that God's sexual desire in the male and the female is perfect in that box. Outside of that box, it's not perfect and it will always destroy your marriage. Okay. That's what happens in a lot of the porn cases. That's one of the seeds we're talking about is guys and women take that lustful desire that really was never fixed. And now they take it to their wife or their husband, expecting their wife and their husband to fill something that can never be fulfilled. You guys get that?
Can it be fixed through counseling?
It can, yes. It can be fixed, yes. All right. This is a huge problem. I see this all the time in our sessions, right? I mean, I don't care if your wife was like Supergirl. She's not going to be able to fix this for you, all right, or your husband, okay? So if you're not aware of this and you're a guy that struggles with this, I want you to be well aware that your wife cannot measure up to the lies that the enemy has perpetrated in your head for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, all right? Okay, super important that you guys know this. Okay, God's design's perfect, right? Okay, husbands, love your wives. Here's some cool ways we can love our wives. Okay, we talk about this a lot in here. We need to value our wives. Think about the word value. Okay, we talk about this a lot in here. Like Mike, I know you value Kathy. It's like, think about that word value. It's like, I like to use this analogy. Mike, you're walking on the beach with Kathy and you stumble upon a mountain of diamonds. And there's a guy going, hey, I'll trade you all these diamonds. It's worth like $10 trillion for your wife. You're like, dude, no way. You kidding me? That's value, right? That's value. You need to value your wife. If you're looking at porn, you're not putting value on your wife. Same thing with your husband. If you're a girl looking at porn, you're not valuing your husband. Okay. The enemy wants you to not value each other. Look at the word value is so important. That's what Paige and I use a lot in our counseling sessions with our guys and girls is learning to value your partner. Think about the word. It's just so powerful, Okay, value. I value her. She's invaluable. Love, okay? And love isn't renting a hotel room on her birthday so you can fulfill that staircase. It's loving her, 1 Corinthians 13. Okay? It's agape love. It's loving her those 3 ways. Eros, phileo, agape. Agape is unconditional love. That's the hardest one for us. Okay. Truly love your wife, agape. Guys, we need to protect our wives. We're known as the gatekeepers. That's one of the top things I talk about. How to beat porn is you are the gatekeeper for your house. If you are looking at porn, you have not protected your home. You are letting the enemy in. You've opened up the windows. You're opening up the doors for the enemy to come in and supernaturally destroy your children and your wife. All right. You need to protect them. You got to seal those windows, close those doors, understand the root issues of porn addiction, and let's fix them. Okay. We're here for you guys. Okay. You got to get help. All right. Again, isolation, secrecy, right? Nobody wants to raise their hand. Hey, I have a problem with porn. I'm the guy in the back row. Said nobody ever, right? Yeah. If you guys have a problem, like we all struggle with something, right? I mean, most people struggle with this. So don't be embarrassed. I had horrible issues with this in my 20s and 30s. I just couldn't beat it. And I finally, God really spoke to me and healed me through the power of the Holy Spirit and understanding the root issues of a lot of the stuff. So it can be done. All right? It can be done. And again, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? Okay. All right, guys, your wife is your best friend. I'm sorry if that's news to you guys, but she is. She'll always be your best friend. If she's not your best friend, make her your best friend. Okay, good advice. Do not be abrasive. Okay, that's huge. A lot of women that come in to see us, one of the biggest problems they have is that their husbands are abrasive.
Or they are.
Yeah, we call him the Brillo pad husband, right? We called that in a couple of sermons ago, right? Just grinding them down, right? Okay, so don't be abrasive. That's like the guy that always thinks he's right and has to win every argument. And who cares, man? If you guys have a disagreement, just agree to disagree. I mean, Paige and I disagree on stuff, and plus she's stronger than I am. All right, guys need to care about their wives. Okay, think about caring for your wife. Okay, real important. Okay, and this goes both ways. All right, think about wives and their husbands. Kindness. Oh my gosh, is there anything greater than kindness? Think about someone that's like mean to you. Like, you ever been to a store and the clerk's like, he's really nasty. Like, you want to return it and just leave, right? How about she's like, oh, hey, how you guys? Hey, Sandy, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. So nice to have you back here. How's the family going? Kindness is great. Goes a long way.
Sure
It
does.
does. All right. Big problem here, guys. Guys that beat porn, okay? One of the roots is the ladder, the lust stuff we talked about, that seed you carry over. Yes, they're not looking at porn anymore, but now they have the continual movie playing in their head that still has all the garbage that they used to look at. So when they're with their wife, they just play that because they can't achieve the sexual intimacy that they need because they've been so desensitized to the porn. They have to think about the porn when they're with their wives. And the same thing goes for the wives and their husbands, right? So this can be cleaned out. Remember, it says take every thought captive. Yeah, train your mind to do that. And we'll talk about that next week. All right. Your sexual thoughts should be about your wife all the time, not anybody else, or a movie that you watched or something that you saw when you were 12, which happens all the time. This is the hardest part in beating porn addiction is your thought life. Yeah, you can beat all that stuff. And the enemy still wants to throw that stuff at you. It's like he's around your head. Like in the video we saw at the beginning, that demon was around that guy's head, Okay, so guys, don't forget, you guys are the gatekeepers. So let's try and work on some of these seeds this week. Okay, the desensitized culture thing. Okay, not thinking that what you're doing is really that bad. Yeah, I slipped up. No, it's not that I just slipped up. Okay, and I said this to one of my counselors the other day. He's like, yeah, I slipped up a couple times this week, man, but I'm back again. I'm reading the Bible, and it's kind of like, not a big deal. I go, well, okay, let's flip it for a minute. Let's just say that your wife comes in for counseling. She's with Paige. You're in the other room and you can hear everything. She's like, yeah, Paige, I slipped up a couple times this week. I slept with 2 guys. Can you imagine how the guy would feel? He'd freak out, right? I want you, if you're a guy right now and you're in the audience or online, I want you to think about that. Every time that you look at that stuff, there's no difference between that situation and the one I just portrayed for you guys. Okay? No difference. It's adultery. Okay? And it does cut your wife the same way that situation does. All right? It's not just, I slipped up a couple times this week. If your wife is so desensitized to you doing what you're doing, there's an issue with that. She needs to, hey, listen, I'm going to help you beat this, but we need to do something about this. Just like if you were a guy and your wife was cheating on you with a real guy, you wouldn't be like, yeah, honey, it's okay. I know you slipped up a couple times this week. We'll work it out. All right. But that's what's happening. And it's not just a few people. It happens all the time. All right. We need to get serious about this, guys. All right. If we want to be the church that goes out into this culture and does damage to what Satan's doing to our country right now, we need to clean this stuff up. It can be done. And we are here to help you guys out. All right. Talk to someone about it. Let's fix it. We're going to have some delivery stuff going on this month. So get it fixed, but get really serious about it. Okay. Don't be like Lot. Don't hesitate. Don't be like his wife. She turns around. Don't be like Ham. Okay. Don't bring that seed. Let's bury those seeds once and for all. All right. And go forward into the culture and make a big difference.